Yes, I wanted to talk with you about a video that I saw. The President of the United States has released the footage of the stabbing of a Ukrainian woman, if I'm not mistaken, that occurred on the looks like a bus. I'd heard about it. I had seen the profile of the person who had done this, and that was the most I saw. But now there's footage showing the actual incident. And what immediately came to my mind was a word I remember sharing, and it's talking about how people are eventually going to start to get tired of Black people. I don't know if y'all remember, I did a series of videos about it a couple years ago, and those things did not come from me. I believe those are things that God placed on my heart of a time that is coming where people are going to, the country is going to turn. A time is going to come, is what I told y'all, where there will be um, uh, almost a recall, where the focus will be on Black people. The focus is going to be on where people of color is going to be looked at as the enemy. Now, I'm not saying the President of the United States is doing that, because it has nothing to do with that. I was telling you all this and I was sharing this before our current president. And this is not about a president. The word that I shared with you all was about the people and the behavior, Black people. And it's a demographic that is louder than the majority, because not every Black person behaves this way. Not every Black person is doing the things that is so easy to, you see the person arguing or being loud or being rowdy, or the muck shots, or this guy, what he has done. I know for a fact that every Black person is not like this, but what's happening is there is a plan. That is why you have the majority of the time the displays of Black people. You see this sort of behavior because you're loud. These individuals are loud. And as rights are given, and as over the years there have been an ear that's been given to Black people to hear what they have to say and their concerns, what that opportunity was used for was for hate. Not to say, not to use wisely, but for hate. The time was not used to address, perhaps, or to say, listen, let's have textbooks in our school that addresses more successful people of color and not just the one or two that we hear about. I know when I was growing up and I was going to school, it was, we heard, a majority of the things I heard about Black people was about, I learned about slavery to the hilt. I remember seeing those gruesome pictures. I remember looking in my textbooks and seeing a Black person hanging from a tree. Okay. And then there were that, and then it was, then there were little highlights, I call them, of we heard about Frederick Douglass, okay, George Washington Carver. But everybody was a slave or born freed from a slave family. There was no one that I heard about. I didn't hear about the Black female pilot. I didn't hear about who created the traffic light, or who created the inventor of potato chips. None of these things. Okay. The mindset was all about slavery. Okay. But what am I saying? Am I sitting here building a platform to say, oh, look what they did to us? What I'm saying is there was a time, and I'm saying was because that window is closing. There was a time where over the last few years where there was the ear was out for black people to hear what they have to say. Okay. But there was no push for things like that. There was no push to say, let's change this thing. Why do we have white, then African American? Why would we have white, then we have African American, Asian American? Why not just say American? If I'm an American, I want to be an American. Don't have me put African American. We're the only people that will do stuff like that. Okay? There are so many things that I believe that could have been addressed and spoken about. There could have been a better understanding of the history without the hostility. But instead, there's all this hostility, and then every little thing is racism, and then the more you cry wolf, and I'm going to say it, the more you cry wolf, there's after a while people going to stop listening. Nobody believes, well, not say nobody, but a lot of people are rolling their eyes at any claim of racism because it's been abused. So when you have people who are truly experiencing racism, where regardless of your color, but we're going to talk about black people. So when there's black people who are truly experiencing racism, what's happening? People are not listening. Why? Because everything is racism. Everything is racist. And that was going on for quite some time. And what was happening is now you have black people who can berate white people and say all these different things. And the truth of the matter is, all that happened was it was like, it's my turn to be racist to you. Instead of taking opportunities to make things better, to say this is what we would like. We like things to give a better understanding of our race and who we are. And these are the things that we have experienced, but this is what we believe will make things better. There, it was more of a ransom, and this is what we want, and we want to be able to disparage you. We want to be able to curse you out. And guys, I'm not exaggerating. You have to go back and look at how even on news platforms there was just this freedom for people to become hostile towards white men, white women. They need to apologize for being white. They need to apologize for their ancestors, what their ancestors did, the slave masters did. And I did a lot of videos talking about that. And a lot of individuals would have been upset with me and thinking, oh, you whitewashed, you're doing this, you're doing that. And no, it was all about a warning of what's going to happen. And now I'm hearing about black fatigue. And as soon as I heard that term, I knew the time is coming. It's changing. Now this video, guys, that's been released showing the actual killing of this woman. And she wasn't even American. She is a Ukrainian woman. I am telling you, it's going to create this atmosphere of anger. It's going to, nobody is going to care about a black person. Be careful with your children, guys. You need to tell your boys, pull your pants up, behave yourself, tell your girls to conduct themselves wisely, because I'm telling you, the time is coming that things are going to pop off. Things are going to start to happen because that door, that window of black lives is closing. And I already told you, you need to understand the history of your country. You need to understand the power that is of the, I'm sorry, guys, my stomach is growling. I just woke up. You have to understand the power of executive orders. You need to understand the power of the majority. You need to just understand how people can just be angry and rise up. And black people are the low hanging fruit, the lowest hanging fruit. There is no value for black skin, black lives. I mean, how do I put this? This is not about being a victim. It's just worldwide. Whether you could be a dark Asian. They don't want, they look down on the dark Asian. Okay, I'm talking about on this entire planet. If you are a darker skinned Mexican, they look down on you. If you're darker skin, um, anything, they're going to prefer. A lot of people will prefer the lighter, even though there are people who love dark skin. Okay, but black people, specifically the actions of black Americans, that's about to be cracked down. You need to be really, really careful. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. Body cams were created to catch police brutality, which, thank goodness, yes, it catches it. But what it also caught on the flip side was showing a lot of how black people behave on camera. Yes, there's some other people who behave a certain way, but it caught, I'm talking about black people, because there's a certain level of entitlement that's been there for a long time. It's like, you can't touch me, you can't do this to me. Okay, you may say, well, white people do it. Guys, I'm telling you right now, there's a change that's coming. And if you are black, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a black person and you're among your own people, you know what time it is. You know, you grew up around it. You know what time it is. If you have opened up your eyes and you're like, okay, man, I got to pull away from this. I got to get out this group. Or you try to stay in your neighborhood. You try to hang around your friends despite becoming successful or doing a bit for yourself. You know this kind of behavior where you end up having to just, as you're going up and you're thriving, you got to make tough choices. Okay, because you just end up having to do that. But I did those videos years ago. Years ago. I think I was about 5. And while you may not agree with it, and a lot of people were coming in the comments. Some came in the comments. Some would reach out to me. Well, I don't think this or that. I I will say, now if you say don't shoot the messenger, it has a whole different meaning now since Charlie Kirk. But the bottom line is, our change is coming. If you're not aware, there's a there is a tension, and there is, the atmosphere is thick, it's wrought, it's froth with with um uh tension, anger. It's a very dangerous time. Okay, it's a time where something will happen, because what's going on is, you have a group there, groups who are being identified right now, who are considered hostile. Okay, they're looking at certain groups or demographics of individuals who have been allowed for the past few years to rage and to carry on, and their rights. People were being beaten down about their rights, and people were being attacked for their rights. All this is happening, has been happening, and it's for a reason. It was always to anger the people, so the people will turn on you. And so when people get sick and tired of you, what happens, it makes it easier for when those measures come down, people gonna say yes, round them up, get rid of them. I told you that slavery will not come back, but there's going to be something. You see, it can't be slavery. Not in today's day and age. But I tell you what, there could be a roundup. There could be a roundup. You have the prison system that could get rid of you, but that's not happening a lot, is it? It's just an in and out. Prison's just a rotating door. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go in and come out. That's why you see people when they get arrested, they will say, it don't matter, I'll be out anyway. They're taunting the police officers. But what happens when orders come out that they can shoot to kill? What happens when orders come out that uh, brutal fatality, fatal force can be used, deadly force is what I'm trying to say, can be used to stop you? No one's going to be raging and upset about you because they want you gone. If you get shot dead in the street, no one's going to care. You may say, oh, they doing that anyway. No, there's going to be something different. If Black people are identified as a terrorist group, if you're identified as a danger or a menace to society, you'll see something very different. And no one's going to save you. No one's going to be looking out for us, okay? It's going to be, yeah, you got to you have to gather them up and you need to put them over here, and then you need you need to see who is who, and you separate them according to that, because they're not going to do it to every Black person. But the loudmouths and ragamuffins and people that's going around doing stuff, I'm telling you, something can happen. There's going to be a shift, there's going to be a change, and you have to understand that things have happened in this country before. They created tenement camps for the Japanese people. There's a time they just declared them as enemies when the bombing of Pearl Harbor happened, and they were rounded up. How did they get rounded up? Through the military. And they took them off and put them away. They were ostracized. This is not, this is in America that has happened. Okay? So y'all gonna mess around and find out, and that's about to happen. Because what is happening is God gave Black people freedom. There was a time where Black people were praying, a praying group. They were seeking God. They were putting Him first. And God opened up a door specifically in America to make you free. What He did was He moved the heart of the king, okay, which would have been a president, to bring you freedom. The same way He moved the heart, even as stubborn as it was, Moses. Moses wouldn't let the people go, and Pharaoh wouldn't let people go. So there were consequences, but only God decides who he can change the heart of a king. He can change the heart of a country to say, let these individuals have their freedom. And it was done. Black Americans are not free in America. I have to remind you, you're not free because y'all did some kind of revolution and you came and you fought hard till you died. You were freed by white men. You were freed by white people who said slavery was wrong. Perhaps some had their own agenda. Maybe they didn't care, but Abraham Lincoln started it and he kept going and all this happened. And then there was a civil war, not between Black and white people, but between the North and the South. Those are some white people. And whatever it was, whether there's an agenda behind it, been free, and then there were changes to the Constitution. Many amendments were made by votes, not because Black people came in and they fought and they said, you will change the Constitution. That's not how that happened. Because even individuals who were civil rights leaders, there needed to be a vote to allow there to be civil rights, for that to even be acknowledged. But unfortunately, there's a lot of Black people who will not sit down and read and understand that the freedom that was given was by God. And what a lot of Black people have done today, they have turned away from the Father. They've turned away from God. They've gone their own way. They start to curse the white man, and they're doing all these different things, and they're stirring up trouble. And what happens is, when you try to fight hatred for those who were, yes, they were racist. Yes, they hated Black people. These things happen. When you try to use that same weapon on them, it's going to have a different effect, because you're not fighting with the sword of the Spirit. You're not doing things according to the Word of God. You're doing this according to your hatred. Opportunities for understanding for the last few years have been used to demonize and to hate on white people, and to terrorize people, and to terrorize the police, and to do all these different things. And now, Don gone out there, a black man, a big black dark man, okay, has been just everything that they think that every black person would be, gets on sitting behind this woman is minding her own business, and he just stabs her in the neck. And it's a person from Ukraine. That is going to create a domino effect where people are like, get rid of them, round them up. You think it's not possible for it to happen? Oh yeah, it can happen. And it's easy. The same way everybody was put away just for, excuse me, just with masks. They'll do it. You may say, oh, we're just going to fight them and we're going to do this. Understand that this country is equipped with equipment and armed forces who goes to actual countries and fight big wars with planes and all kinds of stuff and special forces. You all think that you're gonna win if special forces are sent in on you? You think you're going to win against the Rangers and the Pathfinders and the Navy SEALs and these type of guys and people that we don't even know about? I call them the phantoms and the ninjas of the armed forces. You have no chance. I am not telling any black person to sit around and be all shucking and a jive. No, I'm just trying to live. Oh Lord, oh Lord. I'm not telling you to do anything like that. What I'm warning you about is that there's a change that's coming. It's tangible. You can smell it in the air. You can feel it. Principalities and powers, the rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places, as is has been spoken about in the Word of God. That's it's happening, and you have to be careful how you're moving. If you're mouthy, you need to be less mouthy. If you're going out there causing trouble, stop. If you got that child that's out there at school doing the whoop de whoop and running their mouth, stop. Because before you know it, there's going to be something that's going to come in place that they're going to say, you know what? We tired of these people and we need to do something. Look what they're doing to us. They're stabbing people. They look what they've been doing for the past few years. Look what they've done to us. We're all racist. And the thing about it is, it's been such a blind attack that they even start attacking people who were supportive of black people. So people who were sympathetic and supportive, they are no more because even they were attacked. I'm getting on here to tell you that the times are shifting. I'm reminding you all about those things. If you want to hear those videos that I spoke about, just make sure you're on my channel in my search engine and type in the word black, and you'll see all the videos that will pop up. Make sure you're on my channel, not in the general YouTube search engine. I'm almost certain I had made a playlist for that, but if I have not, you're going to see it all pop up. You can listen to it. You don't have to agree, but these are the things that I believe that the Lord had laid in my heart from years back about the thing that's going to start to happen, the changes that's going to begin to happen. And you need to be prayerful. You need to pray over your children. You need to pray, because what's going to happen is there is, just like in the days of Moses, when there was that's the angel of death that went over in Egypt, and they passed over the houses that had the lamb's blood on the doorpost, or the door frames. You need to pray over your children, because things are happening. You got to pray over your children when they're traveling to school, when they're in school, when they're coming home, because there is a lot that is happening. Specifically in the United States, I can speak about this is happening really a lot in Western cultures and societies. And the reason why this is happening is because a lot of times in the West, the West have really turned to different idols. It's lost its way. It's no longer focused on God. It's just opening up to all kinds of different things. And so therefore, when you bring what we're going to say a strange fire before God, it opens up a door where chaos, where there is repercussions that's going to come down. And that's what's going on right now. And one of the things that's going to begin to happen, among many things, because there have been principalities and powers and division and all this stuff that's been set in, and lawlessness that's been allowed in the United States for a very long time, and in these countries, God is a God of order. He's not going to stay in lawlessness. God is a God of mercy, but He is a just God, and He's also a God of order. And so when there's chaos, and when there's disorder, and when there is defiance, and when all this stuff is happening, it creates the atmosphere that's happening right now. And then you throw some black people in the mix that's been loud, doing things. Understand that for a long time, whether you know it or not, whether you're realizing it, you're a nuisance to every other race. So what does that mean? You can be a nuisance even by doing nothing. Okay? So because everybody's already irritated and aggravated about their own they have their own frustrations and things that they're already mad about. This thing that happened with that lady on that bus, I don't know if it's a bus or a train, that it looks like a bus. But what happened to her is going to set stuff off. Another loud talking, bonnet wearing black person hitting a police officer, that's going to set things off. Things are already tense because of Charlie Kirk and his death. So that's going to set things off with the transgender and the LGBTQ community, the shooting that just happened at the Catholic schools. All this stuff is happening because guess what? Now that the enemy he has given a platform, well, you had freedom, and then now there's a platform, and then the platform was used for you to behave a certain way, and to be demanding, and to be a certain way, and to fight a lot. It set you up to say, see, look, you can't give them that much freedom. See what happens when you give those people rights? Look what they're doing. And is it necessarily the individuals? No. Satan hates everybody. He hates you. He hates me. And whether it's on a macro, micro, or personal level, you're going to realize that he will use you to sabotage yourself with your bad habits and your ways. He will use you in your own home, among your family, to destroy yourself. He'll use you to destroy people and then yourself. He'll use you and whatever it is that you do, cause you to lose your engagement, your marriage, your children, your job. You have a nice job, but you do something you're not supposed to do and lose it. People losing their jobs over cell phones, use and stuff like that. Just really stupid things. And it's not stupid that they lost their job over cell phone. This is the policy. You cannot use your phone during this hour. But people are so, oh, I have to do whatever. I gotta do a video. I gotta do a short. I gotta talk to this person. You lose a job, a high paying job for your cell phone. You will be your worst enemy. We can be our own worst enemy. And I just want to bring that up. Be prayerful. I think it's time for prayer. It's time for you to be asking God to forgive you. You need to watch how you're moving these days. You need to police your children up because a time is coming where you're going to see that despite everything that's happening, the first thing that's going to be coming up is going to be what's going on with these black people. Look what they did. Look what they're doing. Then I'm going to start looking at all the videos of the bonnet brigade and the loud people and the black boy, black men walking around, their hair sticking up on their heads. There's nothing wrong with our hair. I talk to my son all the time. Beautiful hair. I say, you need to maintain your hair. You'll keep it neat. You'll keep it kempt. You're not going to just walk around with your hair head standing up looking, bed head come out the bed, lint balls from the bed, just dusty looking. We're not going to do that. And if you can't do that, you're going to cut it. Because he has long, beautiful hairs. Nice. He has just nice hair. But he doesn't have dreads or anything like that. It's just curly. Like you got to keep it. You got to keep your hair neat. Okay, but there's that image of that person who has that texture here that's doing things. When you look and you're looking at the guy that did the stabbing at the high school earlier this year, I believe. Time's going by so fast. Was it last year or earlier this year? Two high schooler killed that boy in high school. The stabbing. They're looking at, oh, if you see somebody with that hair that's standing up like Goku and Vegeta, oh yeah, they're problematic. No, has nothing to do with it, but you're being labeled. Okay? It's a setup. It's a setup. So they're highlighting individual that's doing certain things. And then you have, oh, the intelligent ones. Oh yeah, even them too. Don't be fooled by them. The ones who are educated, look what they're doing on the news platforms. They're cursing out and disrespecting white men and disrespecting white women and making white women cry. And they're doing all these different things and they're being hateful. Yeah. Oh, even the celebrities, look at them too. Oh, yeah, listen to them on the morning show, what they're doing and what they're saying. And black people are just using their freedom and blah, 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 saying all this stuff because it's been ingrained to just talk about slavery. What else do you know about yourselves? What else do you know about your culture? Name 5 slaves that you know. Name 5 slaves in your family. Who were they? What did they go through? And would they be pleased with what you're doing today? Most people don't know even 2 slaves. They don't know anything about their history. We were slaves. Okay. All right. Great. You know that. Did you go any deeper? Do you want to do anything different? What was the positive things that they did? What were they hoping? What were their dreams? And are you undoing the things that they were lashed for? Because some of them were beaten beyond recognition for just wanting to read and write and walking miles to school and going to school despite being attacked. So with everything that's happening and everything that's going on, the focus is going to now be turned over. Look at these black people over here. Look what they're doing. Whether they're entertainers, whether they're in Hollywood, they're disrespecting white people. They're disrespecting us on the football field. They're disrespecting us on the basketball team. They're disrespecting us um, on the street. We got the bonnet brigade over here doing this. You got the shirtless black kids with their pants hanging down and their mama, everybody throwing chairs at cops. We need to police them up. They're no different. You understand what's being put out there? That no matter what class they're in, they're no different. Even when they're educated, they loud. You got these loudmouth uh, politicians or these loudmouth representatives being ghetto. Look, they went to college, but they act the same. When you look at them and flip them over, oh, it's a roach. You look them over, oh, this a whole hyena right here. In entertainment, oh yeah, they get we produce the movies and we're doing all these different things, or they do the production, they turn around and flip us the bird. The athletes are disrespecting us. They're disrespecting our flag. The thing that black people have to realize is this country is not just comprised of white and black people. You don't see any Native Americans around here. I didn't even see them. Even when I was in Oklahoma, I hardly saw any. I just saw buffaloes every now and then. Well, I saw them a lot. But what is happening? People, I didn't see no black people up there with the president. Did you see any Polish people up there? Did you see any Japanese people up there? So who cares if you weren't up there? I didn't see any black representatives over here. Who cares? Did you see did you see someone from Spain up there? Hmm? Understand who's in your country and understand that there's so many people that wasn't up there. Why are you always making noise about it? That's the thing that's happening. That's going to happen. It's not that people are passive. It's not that people haven't gone through things. Why are the Japanese not going on and say, look what you guys did to us? You had us, our people in tenement camps back then. And you know, you did this to us. And it wasn't old times either. I want to say it was Eisenhower. I can't remember. It was not a long time ago, guys. Okay? These things happen. But what are these individuals doing? They're getting in their books. They're looking at the opportunities that they have to better themselves, to move forward, to be better individuals. But there is a principality of power that is sitting on black people. You're victims. You're victims. Look. They're not doing nothing for you guys. They're not doing anything for you guys. Right? So after a while, no one want to hear you because they're always crying wolf. A bunch of big whiny babies. Oh, why'd you give me the darker piece of chicken? Why'd you do that? What? Dark? What do you mean by that? What do you mean, you people? Stop it, because you're calling each other the N word. And if you look up that word, that ain't even your word. Somebody at school was saying something, and the black kid was saying something to the white kid about, well, you can't say it and whatever. And my son said, actually, he can say it technically. Not that I'm saying he should say it, but technically he can say it because it is a word that was created by white people. And the kid just looked at him. It's true. How you gonna tell the originators of the word they can't use a word? And you all use it more than them. You are out there. It's in every song. It doesn't matter what it is that you're saying it means. It is a racial slur that's been embraced. And we're the only race that sit around calling each other that name. You don't hear Mexicans calling each other bad names or embracing it, what's up, whatever. You don't see white people talking about, hey, what's up, whatever, calling themselves a derogatory term. It is not. You may have a group that may, but it is not common for you to hear any white people using racial terms for themselves or any Asian people using it. You just hear it popping up in their vocabulary. It is black people that keep that word alive more than the racists who actually use it. And they know, you can't really say that like that. Okay. Until they get in groups and get bold or when they're upset. It's so shocking that if they say it, there's a huge uproar. Even if they say it to teach someone, you cannot say that word. The same way a teacher lost her job. Kids were arguing. The teacher just said to them, you cannot say the word N word. And she said the word, oh, you said it. And I believe she got fired or she got in trouble. Guys, people are getting weary. It's happening. And when I saw this thing going around about black fatigue, I was like, well, it's happening. It don't matter what your reasoning is. You can say, well, white people do it too. It's about black people. Well, this is going on over here. It's about black people. Because people of color have allowed the spirit of hatred and divisiveness to rob them of what could have been a great opportunity for understanding. But when you really get down to it, I truly do not believe a lot of black people know their history. So they always talk about slavery. They don't know anything else. There's a victimhood thing that's going on. Oh, we don't have any opportunities, and this and that, and this and that. And no one could ever ask me, why is it that somebody that can come over here looking as black as these boots I'm looking at in my closet can come over here and outdo you then? And they go to the same urban school with the same outdated textbooks. They still just do their best and get good grades and get into a good college and then become your boss. And guess what? They'll have an answer. Because if you don't have an answer, there's going to be accountability. The enemy comes nothing to do nothing but to kill, steal, and to destroy. And when an opportunity such as freedom and liberties have been given and you use it for evil, you use it to get revenge, it's going to backfire. And that is what's going on now. And I tell you right now, that guy in that red sweater that stabbed that woman in her neck has set it off. Ain't going to see it over time. You're going to see it over time. Too many things are happening at one time. But what are they going to look at? I'm not saying the president is racist. I'm not saying anything like that. Okay? I'm not saying any group is. But I'm telling you that the way things have worked, the enemy has always had it global wide, worldwide, that black skin is going to be the first to get it. And in this case, in America, there's been a lot of entitlement. Opportunity has been used for foolishness, for hatred, to stir up strife. Oh, now we can really say we want to say we're going to abuse the white man. How long did you think that was going to go on? This is not your country. You are not considered to be the big prize. You're the most hated, most despised, the first that people don't think stole something. And yet you have a group, a demographic, who seems like the majority because that's who they show. Loud, naked, chilled black kids just running around the street and being loud, hitting the cops, doing all this stuff. And then this is going on. Then you see them, the mug shots. It's going to end. It's going to end. Pray over your children. that when those times occur, when it begins to happen, that you will have grace. You will have God's mercy. And I'm going to tell you something. During those times, the individuals that you're going to have to fear the most is not going to be people that don't look like you, but the ones who do. If you are black, that's what's going to be going on. Time's up. Things are changing. Things are coming. I just ask those of you who know God to be prayerful, to seek Him, to ask Him for His covering, and be still. When you can be still, be still. I would say these are really not the time to be venturing out and going out too much. I'm not saying to barricade or isolate yourself in your home, but do what is necessary because the atmosphere is different. It's very different. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You can check out those videos if you would like. And I'm interested in your thoughts. Okay, God bless.